All right, Larry, Frank, Bill, Helen, Chuck, Timothy, good to see you, Timothy, Susan, Stephen, Bob, and Lynn. Are there any announcements?
Are we gonna, so does it sound like we're not gonna do a show?
You were the only one that responded. So I think if we do it at all, it should be in the fall and will give us time to think about it.
Okay.
And plus, the two of us are not in a great physical shape right now to be doing it, so we'll hope everybody's feeling better by fall. Does that sound okay? Hey Kathy.
So Kathy's here, Marla.
Oh, and Kathy, yes. Yes, we are recording. Are we ready to jump to photos? Which I don't have up apparently, although I did set it up just a minute ago.
Easter lilies?
Let me get the screen where it needs to be. And full screen. And now I think we're ready to go. And I had a list. That's Larry's, I know that.
Here, it's behind here, I have it. So either Easter is early or,
Well, that was last year.
My list is not in there. Here it is.
Chatham InFocus, you know that little garden that sits, it's run by, I think it's not under biology now, but it's a garden that sits along, what's that street?
Franklin Street, the main street?
No, yeah, it's off Cameron, you take Cameron all the way down. At the end, when you, is that Rock?
Yeah.
Raleigh comes in the front. Yeah, right at that corner, there's a garden, and they had these beautiful, lilies there, so.
Yeah, that is
Nice.
a little garden here.
So I cropped it a little bit. I didn't really do much to it. It was,
Didn't need to, apparently.
Nice contrast.
that was an ISO of 100, 48 millimeter f for 5, and a 180 for the second.
Well, good shot, Larry.
yeah, sharp fades off well, the contrast is good.
Yeah, there's some beautiful plants there that are managed. It's really a nice little kind of place. It's hard to find parking.
No, like everything down there, so
You know, but once you park,
Yeah.
and you can walk down there, it's right on Cameron. You can't park on Cameron, you know, there's no parking lot here.
So it's near Davy Hall, a modern, ugly.
No,
historic-
it's go down Cameron all the way to the very end, and is Raleigh Street going up.
All right, next one's Larry's as well, also good.
So this, I took, 2 weeks ago at the greenhouse, which has just been finished, rebuilt at Ronaldo.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Because we went to see the Andrew Wyatt Center.
that was
Going
good.
next week.
Have you been there?
I did, yeah, a couple of years ago.
And the greenhouse was built originally in like 1913, and the university has taken it over, and they spent a year in rebuilding it. It's a beautiful greenhouse. They had wonderful flowers in there, and this was just there, so I just said, wow, that's a big flowers. If you have a chance to go there, it doesn't cost anything to go inside the greenhouse or any of the gardens. I mean, there's nothing growing yet. I think May would be the best. They have a beautiful rose garden in there as well.
And
I
just
think they-
visiting that village is nice.
And the village is really neat, and it was packed. It was, I've never seen so many people. It was really, we needed the village in there, and it was just incredibly packed.
Was it,
They hardly there, I mean, what day of the week?
During the week.
Wow.
Yeah, like Friday.
was it the week that it opened, or
No, it opened
in February?
the greenhouse, you mean?
No, the show.
Oh, the show opened in February, that's correct.
Yeah.
But there weren't that many people inside, so.
Oh, they were just,
Just
the greenhouse was crowded?
The village was really packed.
I think the exhibit's through May 15th, is that right?
Yeah, it's May 15. It's
There-
an interesting exhibit because most of this stuff was done in Maine, but he spent 40 years in Pennsylvania on property that was owned by his grandfather, where he had a studio. And there was a farm adjacent to the studio. It's called a Kerner Farm. And it's very an interesting story. I mean, he spent 40 years taking, drawing mostly watercolors of the farm and just 4 major characters on the farm. It's really fascinating to go through.
I saw how you cropped that, and I liked that.
Oh, yeah, I think there is another crop, but, that's just me. And Larry, I should have said this before we got started. We have 27 photos today. That's more than we've ever had. And with no issues, I took anybody, if there was a third or a fourth, I moved them to the very end. And the one that I moved to the end is the picture of the Wythe exhibit, I think. So, but anyway, these are good shots. Whoops,
Now
there, sorry.
that one is mine. I have no idea of flower names or what that is, but I call it broccoli, so.
You actually have a pretty deep voice today.
You think?
It's a good picture, Bob.
Not far from the goat. It was, f4.5. That's as low as my camera goes for aperture. It's 4.5.
Okay.
1/25 shutter speed. And that was it. I mean, it's a little bit of a challenge trying to find something that you like, I think, and you gotta look a little bit. And,
It's a nice shot.
yeah, so.
The light's nice.
It was a little bit different. That's what I liked of it, about it.
Good deal.
Nice sunlight on it.
Was that in the back where they have all the?
No, it's actually, where the bank is?
Yeah.
Truist. It was the other side of the street, near where they have all the houses for sale. I don't know if you know where that, it was close to that window.
We went by you as you were looking for flowers. We yelled at you and yelled.
Really?
We were walking into McIntyre's, when we opened the window, we were yelling at you.
Really?
I was gonna ask if you were here to shoot wedding photos, because we needed to have some of that sort of thing done.
Yeah.
Not. It scared her.
Is there something you need to tell us all?
Well, I like the way the background.
Thank you, Helen.
paid off, and you got the circles of light back there.
Wasn't
Yeah, the
purposeful.
background with the
No,
low
it wasn't.
aperture that did it.
So you got that, you didn't even have to beef that up at all in processing the blurriness.
No,
You just
no,
got
it
it
was
out.
just a low aperture did it.
That looks nice.
Yeah. So that
Nailed it.
worked out.
With 1/25 handheld?
Yeah. I think I learned to and I didn't do it this time, bring a tripod. I keep saying that and then I don't bring it. So next time I'll bring a
So
tripod.
next time, say you're not gonna bring.
Yeah, I've said that before. Okay, this was also in Farrington.
The color on this one is incredible. That's really nice.
And yeah, what I liked about it was a bigger group of flowers. And I kinda like that. And it was another f4.5, 125th shutter speed also.
I think those are elevators, aren't they?
Is that what they are?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, they bloom early, and there's several around my neighborhood.
They're what?
A hellebore.
They're not Lenten roses?
Same
Well, I
thing.
think that they're also
Same
known
thing.
as that, yeah.
Same thing.
I would warn everybody about those, if you get one, you'll have 100 of them next year. You can beat them back with a stick.
But
Oh.
the deer don't like them. Deer won't eat 'em.
Good, that's not even planned.
Well, you nailed the depth of field on this one too, Bob.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Nice. Susan is up next.
Oh, wow.
So I don't have a garden, but I have usually some orchids in the house too. And this one, I think, may have just opened up, and I don't know if you can see, but actually on the petals, they're sort of glistening a little bit. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just really love orchids. So, anyway, I
That's
took
beautiful.
lots of shots, but I also like that glistening little.
So did you change the background or?
No, this is funny, so kept taking same pictures over and over in the orchids, and some of them were during the day, some of them actually was when it was snowing, so I had some pictures with snow in the back, and then this is at night, and I just, have them right overhead, so I didn't change the background.
Perfect.
So it turned, luckily, just the way it comes out.
Really nice. And I like that it's not in the middle, it's off a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, as with,
Green leaf seems to be pointing at it.
That's right, yeah, you got the two pointing right at it.
Yeah.
there's so much detail in this, you might blow it up even more just for fun. But, nice shot.
Oh,
This is also mine, I'll try to make the story about the short. So, I've lived on my land since, I don't know what, 1988, and I planted some daffodils in the area even before we lived there, and this one probably was just, I planted little clumps of daffodils, and most of them don't come up. And this one, the green comes up, but the flowers don't come up, and this year, lo and behold, 2 flowers came up. So I was kind of obsessed with it, and kept taking pictures of it over and over again. And so there it is, and the background is what the background was with doing haze removal. So, that's the story of the daffodil.
Was it evening? Is that why it's closed, or is it just like at the end of its?
Oh, no, this was at the beginning, this was before it ever opened. I didn't even know it was
Oh, okay.
gonna open because it's sort of damaged.
Yeah.
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 Eventually, it did open, and I was taking pictures with macro lens and kit lens and all kinds, but this is just with the kit lens.
it looks a little sad.
It did eventually, it has actually opened up,
Oh,
so
okay.
maybe it's a little happier.
It's a good,
They are pretty hardy, those things.
So is that leaves in the background on the ground?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, but
Okay. That's
it
nice.
is with haze removal, we're just,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a nice background color against the yellow.
But, you know, the flower hadn't come up for,
Yeah.
I don't know, 20 years or something, 10 years,
Interesting.
yeah. But they are hardy little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
it is.
Chuck,
This is, in my backyard, I have a nice cherry tree. It's planted in a place that's really difficult for me. I was trying to figure out a composition that I liked, the entire tree or some portion of it, and they weren't very aesthetic. So I decided to go with a macro lens. well, I use my regular kit lens, but put a macro extender, you know, I have 3 different sizes, like the medium one, which I don't remember, I think maybe 3, I don't know, anyway, so, and I used the 120 millimeter focal length on the lens, but I shot it manual, and it's, what I have an ISO of 800, and so I stopped it down to f11 and shot it at 160th of a second. And you know, I took several exposures, and I just liked the composition of this one, so that it's reasonably in focus. And it was a windy day, and I was doing the back and forth, you know, to get it to focus, instead of using the autofocus. That really doesn't work with the macro.
It almost looks like a watercolor. It's really pretty.
Yeah, I like the way the colors blur in the background. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so blurry that they're just blobs of color, yeah.
That's
yeah.
great.
And I like the mix of the buds with the blooms too.
Yeah, yeah. Before and after.
Yeah,
Nice.
so that was that one.
Oh,
And then, yeah, like everybody's saying, I didn't have a lot of things coming up in my yard yet. I did have some daffodils, which I took some nice images of, but that was later. But anyway, so there's these, you know, I guess they're maybe kind of a violet, they're a weed in the lawn. And so I thought they were interesting, and used this same macro setup, a very small blossom, delicate structure that you can only see when, you know, with high magnification. So I took a bunch of different exposures and picked this one because I liked the balance of the 3 lines of 3, and then there's like a rock, that kind of a rock in the upper left, and I just like the detail on the leaves and the tone of the green too. So anyway, that was also an 800 ISO f11. This one was a little faster, 250th of a second, and you know, with the macro extension.
you know what I really like about the composition is that bit of tree trunk you have in there.
Rock.
If it
Oh,
just
that's
been
actually a rock. That's
a
yes,
rock.
Yeah.
It doesn't, well,
It adds
whatever
some
it is,
texture to the.
but it adds something that just the
Yeah.
flowers alone wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. I had several of just, you know, just the flowers and the greenery around, and I thought this was more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is nice. Love the colors in there.
All right. Helen is next.
Oh, that's
Wow.
good.
That is, I went to the archives because
Oh, did you?
I gave up, that was something that I took last fall, well, actually, last summer. Honeysuckle, let me see, that was 49 millimeter, 5.4. Since I was shooting into the light to try to get the
Mhm.
light to be shining through, it's 1/2500 and an ISO of, can't read my writing, it looks like 1250. I had a couple of flares. I like sunflowers, so, and there was a stray leaf that I took out, and then I saved it, and then I never could find it again, and so I had to do it again. But this version does have the little sunflare, and, I was fine with that.
That's great.
Yeah, I think the contrast between the brightness of the flower and the dark background is really, really nice.
And, yeah, and Helen, when you said you took one from the archives, is this the very same crop?
Yes.
And so how did you drop out the background?
Ironically, all but about the bottom 8 were like that, so
Oh, nice.
I used the cursed clone to,
Oh, okay.
and it was green down, in the bottom, and it took me forever to clone in
Mhm.
the dark and replace the green, which I didn't like.
If Tom was here, he could probably tell us how he does a
I
mask.
know,
I know.
where is Tom
You
when
can
we
do a
need?
mask, I think you have to use the select tool and then do a mask.
Yeah.
It's took
Maybe
me.
watch a football game.
That's right.
I really like that
Oh,
leaf
Tom's
result
not
really
here.
makes the picture too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the,
That's really nice.
So Sal, Helen, you were saying the background was fairly dark, because I find if I have that, I just drop the shadow. Just pull the shadow back and it makes it darker.
all right.
Yeah, that's a good tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
And just wondering too,
The highlights and shadow are great.
you know, we tend to use the matrix metering. I wonder if using spot metering, putting it on the leaf,
Mhm.
would change your exposure to the background to go a little darker.
Mhm.
You're right.
You know, you can get partway where you wanna go, maybe by changing it.
Like the angle.
Well,
Oh, I love that background.
Okay, honeysuckle.
Very nice.
Is that yours, Helen?
No, that's not honeysuckle. I don't know what that is. Somebody can tell me what it is.
Highly poisonous.
It, again, 59mm f5 1/4000, and I had so 1250 because I was shooting into the where the sun looks like it's coming from the left, and I did a lot of using the curved clone to get rid of background down in the that's the right lower corner. There was some things I didn't like there, but.
Love the colors of it,
Yeah.
of whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
And the composition is beautiful too. I mean,
This is a,
the awnings,
I tried adding a fourth, and I couldn't do it. I just could never do it. I got close, but I learned a lot, but I couldn't achieve what I wanted to do with it, but anyway.
even the little leaves on the bottom add to it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
So you said you had like a fairly wide aperture and then a real high shutter speed?
Yes. And that is behind the inn in Farrington. The other one was at Carolina Meadows.
two good shots.
Great, very nice.
And Frank,
Okay, this was I had in my yard, right by my driveway, this one daffodil. And so I went out there, the only thing I meant to do afterwards, and I thought I had done it on another version, but sent the wrong one in. I wanted to take those spots out of the top
oh,
leaf there, but I think I just by accident sent the wrong one. But luckily, it was shot against the, like looking down, and it was all pine needles. The brown pine needles went down on the ground, so it gave it a nice background color, which I did blur a little bit. Didn't have to do much, because this one, this was taken with my Canon, and I used my 90mm macro lens on it. And so it was shot at 1/250th of a second, and f3.2, which is a weird number, but, and then ISO 100. So again, I just blurred the background just a little bit and cropped it in to try and get it in the 1/3.
Are the corners natural, or was that a white vignette?
That's like a white vignette. I didn't put that, it just kind of came out that way,
Oh.
yeah.
well, I think being off the center makes this one really look nice, especially nice.
There's a sad story to this, I sprayed water on it, because I wanted to see how that would look, and it really didn't add anything. I mean, you couldn't see it, but I realized the water bottle I was using, my wife had put bleach in it. So I went out to say, well, I might shoot this again.
Oh,
I didn't notice the smell or anything, I just sprayed it, and nothing, but the poor guy got, day one.
Executed.
Did you use a tripod with?
No, I handheld it, yeah.
that's lovely.
Great shot,
Let's see.
as is this one.
Now this one, I was really struggling to get another shot to put in there. Saturday night, we went to the Playmakers for their opening night. And they were having some food out there, hors d'oeuvres, and they had some floral arrangements. So luckily I had my iPhone on with me, so I went over and I got that picture of that rose, I guess, shot close up to it. I held the camera right up and put it on portrait.
Yep.
And this came out, but I didn't like what was around it because it was the rest of the floral arrangement. So in Photoshop, I just selected the subject, removed the background, and then I have a whole bunch of files of different backgrounds and different colors. And I grabbed the green one and it just put it behind it. And I thought it came out pretty good.
Oh, more than
This
a
one
pretty
I
good.
did do a little silhouette dark, or vignette, so that like darken around, and it's almost like it's lit up around the back of it.
Yeah, it's terrific.
But it's weird using the iPhone because it said it was 2.22 millimeter, but there's, in parentheses, it says 26 out of 35, so if on a 35 millimeter basis, so I get with the regular camera, that would have been 26. It was 1/40th of a second, it was f2.2, and it was ISO of 1,000.
Great shot.
Really nice.
And what you did to the
The
background.
only thing I wish I could have got on the bottom left is like a white petal. And I struggled with trying to get it out of there, but I was messing the picture up. As I
Yeah.
said, forget it, leave it.
Doesn't distract me anyway.
I really like that. I like the color
Yeah.
choice.
Oh, it was the floral arrangement. I don't know where they got them, but they were beautiful.
Well, I hope Tom's well, but he didn't make it today, I guess. So we'll carry his over. That's a hint. And these are Bill's. This looks like rosemary.
Oh, you took the first one?
Well, there are a couple that are, or one that's coming up later. And when you,
Yeah, this one was, Bob, Frank and I got together over at the Goat on the windiest day in the past week and a half. And, so we're just out there trying to get creative or make lemonade with lemons, but, and this one happened to pop out because I don't know what these are.
Rosemary.
I think it's rosemary.
Rosemary?
Rosemary?
It's just, the white is just fascinating to me. Yeah, it's,
And you shot this in black and white?
no,
No.
this is color.
Wow.
Got a little,
Yeah, 'cause you can see a little color in the back.
and that stem right there is brownish.
Yeah, on the monitor that I have here, you can see the brown, stalk that kind of fell in there about 2/3 across in the middle.
Yeah.
And then in the bottom left, there's, some brown as well. And as you look toward the top and to the right, that's where it's much more color in there. 'Cause
Yeah.
what I can see on my monitor here is greens and purples.
Yeah, mine too, Bill.
yellows.
Right down in here.
So where was this in relation to where we were shooting?
It was right by the, walkway to the Goat from.
Okay. Going down towards the goat. All right.
Wow, that is totally different.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah,
No, that's
doesn't look anything like it.
But you were lucky, because I couldn't come out with anything that day. They were just blowing around too much.
Yeah, so because of the weather,
Nice.
yeah, I shot that other one at 1/500th of a second to try to stop the wind. And, that was with 115 millimeter f4. This was my minimalist one.
Terrific.
Yeah, I went out in the backyard because we have
Definitely.
daffodils. Any place I go in the back and I rake the old pine straw and leaves, and all of a sudden, the next year, daffodils pop up.
Yeah.
And this one, I just did it at a minimalist. I did it in the house. I just pulled one out from outside, put it in something that would stand up, and put it against the wall.
You didn't kill it like I did.
Well,
Bleach.
it may be getting thirsty right now, but,
Did you, like, use any light painting on it, or was
This was actually the light that came through our skylight.
Oh, okay.
And it just so happened to, I
Comes
just,
down on top of it.
right.
Yeah.
And then the wall behind it is really about 4 feet behind it, so if there was any imperfections, I figured, you know, they would go away. And this was shot at just f9, 50 millimeter, 50th of a second, 1250 ISO, and, yeah. Because I was trying to do so much with these, with focus stacking, I was trying to, but I was having trouble.
Yeah.
Something just wasn't working for me, so I just decided, just have one that is minimalist.
That's nice.
You-
There's definitely a color in here. The yellow is more
Yeah.
orangey
Oh, yeah.
than up there.
Do the detail there.
Well, this really flattens everything, I don't know why.
Well, one, you know, the last time it was,
I'm sorry?
with the monitor, I
The
guess.
monitor flattens the color.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I didn't check it to see if it's on the right setting. Somebody may have moved it, so I'll be sure and somebody remind me to do that, because that could well be how it happened. All right, Kathy. Whoops, went the wrong way.
Oh, gorgeous.
I'm just curious about how people react to it.
Colors,
Instead of giving them a story.
Purple
the
and
colors
yellow
are gorgeous.
and orange.
Yeah. This composition, that like how things are, all the color, the brilliant colors toward the top of it, and then the base colors are a little darker.
And there was,
You know what's on the bottom, is that it?
yeah, a vase.
No, this is Harris Teeter, I walked in. We're loading up the bin with brand new fresh bottles.
So it's like cellophane.
So that's
Yeah.
actually water on the floor.
Yeah, I saw the water drop.
Look at Trader Joe's has big flower case.
Big
I've often thought that'd be a great place.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I never even thought of that for this sign.
About the only place you can find flowers,
Can't blame the weather.
not outdoors.
I just happened to walk in right after our meeting last 2 weeks ago. Yeah, they were.
So is this with your camera?
It's always good to have your camera.
Yeah.
Boy, that's,
I'm not sure
That's
why any of
beautiful.
us carry these big cameras
Yeah,
around.
Yeah, I don't.
That's beautiful.
Look how sharp it is in there.
Picture. It is.
The thing that's interesting to me with all of these is like, where's the border? Because, you know, this is just a detail from, you know, a big mass of flowers. So I've got like about 10 photos from that, you know, show masses of flowers. But anyway, again, I liked that contrast in the lower left, and I like the reflection of the overhead light in the plastic wrap that's around the flowers.
And Kathy, what did you shoot it with? What was-
Cell phone,
Cell phone.
iPhone,
yeah,
is it iPhone?
yeah.
I also
It's
like,
an old one, it's an iPhone 11.
I like the different yellows and purples, it's really beautiful. And greens.
The shapes are little chaos, which is
Yeah,
really interesting too.
yeah.
Wow.
So the next one is a detail from the same day.
Oh, interesting.
Now, I really barely sent this in, you know, but I like the,
I love it.
oh, well, that's good.
Gosh,
Even the plastic
Yeah.
really looks
This,
great.
That's,
fun.
Yeah, I do too, I like that.
That's it.
I like the reflection.
and that really does look like a vase.
Looks
I'm
like a
sorry?
wine glass to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so many things going on. I love it.
So are those
How many levels?
reflections on the, that look like the stems and the little leaves, is that reflections?
I believe those are a pattern that's in the plastic wrap
Oh,
around the flowers.
okay.
But honestly, I couldn't tell you. I just was, you know, again, this is a very small detail from a photo, and I didn't even see that until I blew it up. Or, you know, until I cut out the detail and focused in on
That
it.
is,
So I think that's a pattern in plastic.
that is really nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I like about it.
The movement.
Yeah, exactly, that curve.
Two good
So if you're
ones.
looking for flower shots, go to Harris Teeter.
I thought about it, but you're the one that did it.
You said a bunch of those shots and then.
It always
you
looks
started
nice
to
when you go
look
in.
at it, And then you
Yeah.
saw some.
You see all this
'Cause
stuff.
I find that like sometimes I won't get my camera out because I'm like, I don't know, that's, what, you know, what am I gonna do? But then I realized, just take a bunch of pictures, things you think might be interesting and then you find.
It's nice about digital.
Yep, it's not film.
Yeah, so keep it.
Well done, Kathy.
Yeah.
Stephen,
Yeah, trout lilies, and these are snapshots. There's, I was walking with a group of about 20 people, and there wasn't time to do much. I just, popped shots off. The reason I did that, though, was not so much to present photographs as to present recommendations. Go there. These are spring ephemerals. They'll be there maybe another 3 weeks. Where these were shot was a place called Panther Branch, which is the newest section of the River State Park that's open. And I think maybe the nicest. It's got just, it's a very beautiful place in a lot of ways, not the least of which it hasn't been trampled yet by hordes of people. It's over by Hillsborough, which has an excellent barbecue, if you're interested in such. They do.
It does.
It makes for a very nice trip. The picture, you might kind of walk around sort of settings, or I'm on, auto manual with auto ISO, full manual otherwise. Walk around, shutter speed is about a 500th. And, kind of the plus of that is nothing blurs. We were talking, kind of joking, but I've basically thrown away my tripods because, with the ability of cameras and post-processing to remove noise and blurs and so forth, you just don't need them for most anything anymore.
it's a good photo.
They're beautiful flowers. Yeah, just gorgeous flowers.
And Stephen, was there one that I never did get?
I'm sorry.
Was there yet another photo that I did not get? Or was this the one
It
you?
was, and I'm sorry, I tried to send it to you about 3 times, and apparently for some unknown reason.
Yeah.
I was sending it to you and to me, and to me, the photo was there, when I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hepatica, which is another ephemeral. And what's notable about it, this was very early, you couldn't see the leaves yet. Hepatica, liver, it's because the leaves are kind of liver-shaped, lobed. But the blossom it's a kind of Frau Angelica blue. If you've seen some of Frau Angelica's work, he does blues that are just kind of luminous and marvelous. And the hepatica blossom, captures that luminosity. It's just a gorgeous little tiny flower. It'll be here again for another maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
So Stephen, are these, you mentioned it in that state park, are these just kind of blooming in the duff, as just walking around, or are they in like a planted area?
Oh, no, they're wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
there
amazing.
are, hundreds of thousands of these things there.
Oh, wow.
And, over, some miles of path. And they're just, they're completely wild, yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'll try sending the other one again, and we'll carry it over to next time. But
Yes, it's not, it's again, there's nothing to it as a photograph, it's just of a thing that I hope other people
Yeah.
would enjoy.
well, we still want to see it. So
I'll get it to you.
what I saw on my screen was a box with a symbol in the middle of it, but wasn't anything behind it. So, but sorry, but we'll do it next time. This is Timothy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's, my pond last summer. I also, except for one, dug into my archives because I've been, excuse me, I've been editing for a month. I got sick for over a month and I'm way behind on my project that's due in April. So I haven't really been out shooting much because I've been on the light table, but this I just shot in the pond. Usually I did a series of lotuses in black and white for a show at the Skylight Gallery 2 years ago. But this one just screamed color for some reason. The light was hitting it right, and I don't have the data on it because I pulled it off of a hard drive. But it's probably I'm gonna guess that it was either a 50 or maybe a 105 lens. Yeah, it's right near the edge of the pond, so I didn't, it's not like I needed a real long lens. Right. I just like the background.
Yeah, it is the back.
The pads look good. The lotus flower, I think, is probably one of the most beautiful flowers there is. It's the only flower that grows in the mud. Actually.
Did you modify the colors in the background?
I don't know how to do that stuff.
So it just is that?
Yeah, I don't use a lot of, I have Lightroom. I don't really know how to work it too well. I don't use it that often. But, I don't think I did anything to this one.
There's nothing wrong with getting it right in the camera.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do because, I have a background of shooting in film. I've only been shooting digital for about 5-6 years. I still shoot more film than I do digital, although I haven't, going broke trying to develop it. But yeah, I do love shooting digital because just a massive amount. Although I think I told the story before, I shot a wedding for a friend of mine, which, was really a mistake because I swore I'd never do that. Even on a Bible, I swore that. But my friend begged me and I did it, and I shot 3,000 images because it was my first digital wedding.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I was 2 months late delivering the photos. They were back from the honeymoon, because I just, just overshot. Yeah, that's my first experience with digital. It's like, wow, this is cool. Oh, that's a chance to film. And then, when I got to editing, that killed me. That also was shot last summer.
Wow.
Because, I don't have any flowers on my property right now, except for a couple of daffodils. And I actually shot this for one of our, my wife and I have a greeting card line. She does watercolors and I do photos. And this was for the spring line, so to speak. And I just went out one day and started shooting some stuff that we could use on the card line. Yeah. And if you look close, there's a bee there. I didn't know that when I shot it, but again, I don't think
That's great.
I don't think that I did anything to this one either. I might have, but again, I'm just not versed on Lightroom. I noticed in Helen's last email we talked about some workshops, and that's an area that I could use some help in. I don't want to become dependent upon it because I really like to get it right. I bracket all my photos. I shoot 3 of everything I shoot. 3 different. I have my camera set to do that, to take 3 at 3 different settings, bracket. And I find that I can usually get one that works for me if I do that. But I don't know. I don't remember what I shot it at. Again, I was just trying to make some greeting cards.
Well, you made a good one.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Well, we've moved fast enough. We have time for the extras. And this is Larry's.
Pretty creative.
So, flowers, right?
Yeah, that's right.
This is the inside of the living room of, Rinaldi. And I cropped it down. I tried, it's hard, because they had a guard around the room. You couldn't get past a certain point, so I was trying to take it so that the roof line, you know, everything was, it was what it is. I tried to line up the lines, I didn't wanna lose the pots, I mean, the ceramics on the bottom, so I just shot it that it's not exactly, you know.
I like the symmetry, it's got the two lights, the two porcelain, you know, it's kinda got that four square around it. That's kinda like its own frame.
The interesting thing about Ronaldo, the house itself, when you go through it, there's an incredible amount of artwork in there.
Yeah.
And they have such diverse, forms of art. And sometimes people just walk by it, you know, it's like wallpaper.
Yeah.
But it isn't, I mean, if you go by, you know, we've been there a number of times, and so now we focus on the artwork that's on the wall. It's a lot more interesting than furniture to me.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it is, there's a bunch of old furniture,
Yeah.
you know, and, you know, he never saw this house. R.J. Reynolds, he died before they finished it.
And smoking.
And,
What did he say?
Probably from smoking.
It's
Reynolds tobacco.
Right, exactly. Everybody, it was like an ashtray, you know, one of those standing ashtrays, those old fashioned things. In every room, you know, you say, oh my God, this guy's, but he died young.
Well, Larry, this one, I think the lighting was the challenge, and
Yeah, this
it
was
turned
shot-
out.
I did it, the ISO was 2500, because it was indoors at 40 millimeters with f 4.5 and 1/60th of a second.
Which was the f-stop?
The f-stop was 4.5. That's what I read off the top, you know, inside.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of the flower. I said to my wife, oh, flowers. So that's why it's good to have challenges, because you go places and you just start thinking about the next thing.
Yeah, even Harris Teeter.
And that's perfect.
Are there flowers on the walls?
I don't know.
All right, Helen.
Oh, wow.
Sedum. I think that's Sedum, shot late last fall over at Carolina Meadows, into the sun, with the sun behind it, so that you could kind of see through, which I really like.
Yeah.
That thing has been cropped and cropped and cropped and cropped, and it's still,
Still
yeah,
focused.
it's still sharp. I was surprised. At first, I thought I must have used my extension tubes, but no, I didn't. Anyhow, 54 millimeters, f/18, because I was shooting it in the light, 1/80th, ISO 320. Yeah, I just like the contrast,
It's
the
beautiful.
shocking, it's kind of a shocking contrast to the colors.
Where did you take this, Helen?
In a pile of leaves over at Carolina Meadows.
I love the texture of the leaves.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And that one, same thing, that is also at Carolina Meadows. That is a cucumber blossom.
Oh,
And I started cropping and playing with that one and zooming in on that thing, and there was that nice bug.
Yeah.
So he was kind of dark, so I lightened him a little bit and put a frame around it. And
Nice job.
there we go.
You know, when you do a close-up like that, you really get to see the delicacy of a flower.
Yes.
Right,
And you
yeah.
know how delicate it really is,
Yeah.
and how bleach will kill it. Kidding, Frank.
Without even knowing it.
But yeah, it's a beautiful shot. I like the light behind it.
Yeah.
I think you could have even
You know, you
cropped a
capture that
bit
light
more.
I didn't remember, I didn't know he was there, I was.
Oh, is that right? You didn't see him when you took it? Oh,
This was all crop?
Yeah.
wow.
I like the light coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
it's not
nice.
shading in there.
Now, is that white spot on that one leaf a hole in it? Up in the top right?
I think that's I think that's something on the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's, yeah,
The arrow.
sorry.
He wanted you to see that.
All right.
That's what the bug is.
That's an interesting book.
Tom had another one down here, and we'll carry it over too, and then this is,
Oh, that's nice.
Ooh,
that, oh, that jumped.
Oh, wow.
whoa.
Triple exposure, maybe?
Wow, whose is that?
Bill,
Me.
Wow.
and Bill,
That wind,
it didn't occur to me, when I went back through and put the extras down at the bottom, I forgot that you had numbered them. And you all, if you're, whether it's 2 or 3, whatever, but please tell me which one you want to use first. And in this case, I forgot, and I'm sorry, but I picked what I liked best. And I still think that those 2 that I picked were the best of them. But this is interesting, so go ahead.
this was on a windy day. And all the other things it just didn't feel like anything was working right.
Yeah.
So what I decided to do, I went in, and I went under multiple exposures. And what I did, this is, the setting that I put inside the camera is take 10 images, then put them all together in camera. So what I did is I shot it at like f4, but at 1/500th of a second. And I wanted to stop each one of
Right,
those
right.
while they're moving. If I shot too slow of a shutter speed, it would have been a big blur.
Mhm.
And, yeah, so that's,
Wow,
Very cool.
it really is.
Yeah.
Well, look how sharp it is at the top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Really?
that's a great one.
yeah, it's that whole idea that if you're out there and the conditions are terrible, there might be a way to do something.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's not the best, but
I like it cropped like that.
You know, I mean, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's fun shooting in diversity. Isn't it? It's fun shooting when it's, it's diversity. It's hard to, you gotta be creative.
All right, we have one more, and it's from, well, how did that happen? Timothy, is this the black and white you mentioned at the beginning?
Yeah, this was just a succulent that my wife had on the shelf, so I pulled it off and stuck it in the studio. Again, that's my backdrop, so I didn't have to, at the time, I had a black backdrop up over last week, and now I'm thinking I'm on gray right now, but yeah, I just, thought soon there would be flowers there. And I just set the pot right in there and, on the posing stool, and it's all natural light coming from the left, as you can tell.
Yeah, very nice.
Sometimes when I have, my studio has a large window facing south, which from this angle would be on the left. So I usually just use it. Occasionally I'll use this light to, on the other side to give it some extra
To
light.
balance it?
Yeah, to balance. I have like this one and then I have a large one, but I always carry this one because sometimes it's too dark and you need a light.
Yeah.
I don't use a flash usually. And this one adjusts to all EVs. So anyway, that's just a hurried shot, put in the studio and bang.
Gorgeous.
Well, some really good photos, which is just redundant. I mean, because these were nice, great, and so have many, many, many of the last programs too. So, what's the next challenge, Frank?
Tools.
Tools.
Tools,
Yeah, tools,
take
right.
a picture of me on the tool.
plural or?
Oh.
Tool.
Two could be singular or plural. But it
Could be
I think it's
camera.
written as plural.
Cameras.
So,
Yeah,
it's pretty cheap.
there's so much that constitutes a tool.
One thing about these shots today, 3 years ago or 4 years ago, this group couldn't have done them. We
What-
couldn't have handled the backgrounds.
Yep. That's why I ask if the flower you used from the archive, I mean, it would be interesting to see where it started, and because it had no border,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
So,
But these are things that we couldn't have done. We know how to control the camera then.
yeah, absolutely.
really.
All right, thank you all.
What do you think in the Wyeth,
Oh, yeah, great.
kind of, so I.